Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Chandigarh in India. Chandigarh is an incredibly interesting city. As you can see, we're just talking about this area tonight. Chandigarh is the capital of Punjab state and Haryana state. It's not an unusual thing in India to have the capital of an area outside of the area. Evidently, this is not the first time I've encountered that. It's very interesting. So, since this area is so tiny, there's not much to say in terms of geography. It is a city area. There are mountains nearby. We are very much in a valley, but there's not much to note. We will look at the city in depth on Google Earth and see all of the wonderful sights, so I won't spoil too much about what we can find in this city. So let's wait for the Google Earth portion after we talk about history. So why don't we talk about history? In Chandigarh's construction, there was evidence found of the Harappan civilization, also known as the Indus Valley civilization, where India gets its name. Today, the Indus Valley is in Pakistan, just over here. And it was believed for a long time, like when I was in school learning about ancient cultures, we thought that the Harappans mainly just lived near the river. But in the past decade or so, there have been sites found like all throughout this area here, which is really exciting. There's probably more than that we haven't found yet. So I think that's interesting. But this little corner of India was not much. It was mostly mango farms for most of history. When this site was selected to become a city, there was a temple to the goddess Chandi, hence the name Chandigarh. But this was a lot of nothing until 1947. What happened in India in the year 1947? It was a very, very big year for the Indian subcontinent. In 1948, India gained independence from Great Britain. But there were a lot of issues surrounding that. The Muslims of India, British India, wanted their own country because they were afraid that in a Hindu majority country, their rights and needs wouldn't be recognized, among other reasons. So they wanted their own state, and it was quite contentious. But in 1948, it was decided that this section over here would become Pakistan, a Muslim country. The rest would be India, which would be a predominantly Hindu country. And then way over there would be the other half of Pakistan, sort of concentrating the areas where the most Muslims lived into the Pakistan. There were East and West Pakistan. Of course, today, East Pakistan is now Bangladesh. But that created a lot of issues for millions of people. For many Hindus living in what became Pakistan, they didn't want to live in a Muslim country, so many of them moved into India. Many Muslims living in what would become India did not want to live in the Hindu-dominated country, so they moved over to Pakistan. This was known as the partition, or the partition of India, when it was separated into a new country. And it was, I believe, I've read this, pretty sure it's correct, the largest migration of humans in history. Many people packed up what they could and hopped over the newly created border here. And it was a disaster. For many reasons. It wasn't just the transportation, but where do these people go? So the Indian government decided since the capital of Punjab, you can see, was split. This is Punjab, Pakistan, Punjab, India. The capital of Punjab was now in Pakistan. Punjab needed a new capital. And the Haryana state was created because of languages. Punjab speaks Punjabi. Haryana, they speak Hindi. And India really tried to create regions based on languages. So the Indian government decided to create a brand new city that would represent Punjab, and later, once Haryana was created, to also represent Haryana. And they picked this spot in 1948 and began construction. The city was officially inaugurated in 1953, but a lot of work would happen between 1948 and 1953 because you can't just plan a city overnight. It takes a lot of work. Many architects and city planners were brought in to help design a brand new city out of absolutely nothing. And one of those designers was a very famous Swiss architect named Le Corbusier. And many of his buildings are now UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Excellent. I hope you can. So we can read about the architectural work of Le Corbusier, an outstanding contribution to the modern movement. And of course, we can see that there are sites in Argentina, Belgium, France, Germany, India, we're talking about tonight, Japan, and Switzerland. But let's read about him. It says, chosen from the work of Le Corbusier, the 17 sites comprising this transnational serial property are spread over 7 countries and are a testimonial to the invention of a new architectural language that made a break with the past. They were built over a period of a half-century in the course of what Le Corbusier described as patient research. We have the Complexe de Capitol in Chandigarh in India. We also have the National Museum of Western Art in Tokyo, the House of Dr. Cruchet in La Plata in Argentina, which I believe we looked at when we talked about La Plata, and the Unité d'Habitation in Marseille reflect the solutions that the modern movement sought to apply during the 20th century to the challenges of inventing new architectural techniques to respond to the needs of society. These masterpieces of creative genius also attest to the internationalization of architectural practice across the planet. Now, this gallery has a lot of images, and we will look at these buildings on Google Earth, but there's a couple in here in Chandigarh. Let's find they're toward the bottom. Here we go. There's part of the assembly building. I hope you can see. There's a ramp in the high courtyard, it says. And here's the Secretariat building. But yeah, we'll look at more of his buildings on Google Earth and some of the monuments that he helped create, including the Open Hand Monument, which looks like this. I've been practicing making it. It's really hard not to do this. But that's become a symbol of the city, the open hand. We'll look at it on Google Earth. Another really interesting site in Chandigarh is the Rock Garden. A man named Nek Chand, who was helping to construct buildings in the city here in 1957, started collecting a lot of rocks that would have just been thrown out, a lot of waste, and he started creating art with it, just in a little corner of a park that nobody was using in his own spare time. And it grew and grew into this gorgeous piece of art. It's amazing. I can't wait to show you on Google Earth. It is absolutely stunning. Just this huge rock garden just created by a guy in his spare time using materials that would have just been dumped out anyway. It's fantastic. Chandigarh reminds me a lot of Barcelona, which we looked at a couple of months ago, in that the city is divided into sectors, much bigger than the ones in Barcelona. But as you'll see on Google Earth, it's all very much like square with many squares in each, and each square will have homes, businesses, parks, schools. Some are just, I think one of them is just like big university. Each one has its own purpose. It's a really interesting concept. It's a really incredible planned city. Planned cities are so fascinating to me. But that's pretty much the history. It's been pretty thriving ever since. And been a nice, good hub here in northern India. New Delhi, as you can see, is just a hop, skip, and a jump away to the south here. Just the capital of India. And yeah, that's pretty much the history of Chandigarh. Not a very long history, especially in terms of India, which has a super long, detailed history. This was just farmland until the 1940s. Isn't that interesting? So I've hyped it up enough. Let's go check out Chandigarh on my tablets on Google Earth. Let's go. Oh, it just started raining really loud. It scared me. Here we are in Chandigarh. But let's start by zooming out so you can see exactly where we are in the world. I think everyone knows where India is located, right? It's kind of hard to miss on the globe. Here's beautiful India here. You can see the Himalayas up here. Pakistan's just over there. You can see little Sri Lanka down there. So on and so everyone knows where India is, but Chandigarh is located up here in the north next to Punjab. You can see the big Himalayas up here. The biggest mountains in the world. But we're down here. Little Chandigarh. And you can see from above all of the sectors, right? All of the big square neighborhoods. It's so fascinating. So neat. You can see it labeled here, Sector 32, Sector 45, which is really cool because it's like diagonal. That's so cool. What a neat design. Yeah, like Barcelona has all of their little square buildings, but they all look the same from above. Here, all of these sectors in Chandigarh are all square, but they all kind of have a different flair to them. You know, they all have different parks, temples inside, schools, markets, so on and so forth, theaters. What's happening down here? This looks way more residential. Lots of little shops. So neat. So cool. It's such a neat idea. Where to start? I guess we start over here. Sukna Lake is a man-made lake to create a park area over here. The bird park is really famous. Let's take a look. Surprise, it's full of birds. All kinds. Let's see some birds. There's a beautiful parrot. Lots of bird statues as well. A black swan. All the different birds we can find. Lots of duckies. Lots of beautiful parrots. Scarlet macaws there. More swans. Little parakeets. Very common in India. Some nice koi fish too. But over here we can find the rock garden of Chandigarh. There's lots of neat slideshows. I can't remember which one's my favorite one. They're all pretty great. Look at this. Incredible. A little eerie. Kind of reminds me of the stone garden in Oslo. We haven't looked at that on my channel, but it reminds me of that. Look at this. This is all made of rock. This was all made by one guy. All of these rock structures. In his spare time, he created this huge, like, maze masterpiece of sculptures in stone. It is pretty amazing. Neck Chand, dedicated to, I can't read the whole thing, the spirit of India, the people of India, it says. Just made out of leftover materials. Isn't that something? This would be so fun to explore. Okay, what is he made out of? It looks like some kind of like rubber band something. Little houses with little people in here. This beautiful bridge. Isn't this incredible? Little carrying pots. So neat. Look at this. Gosh, it's almost out of like a Ghibli movie in a way. Like it's very whimsical, isn't it? Looks like a theater area here. It's quite magical. How fun is that? Up here is the Government Center. Here we can see the Open Hand Monument, designed by Le Corbusier. He had planned lots of monuments around here, and a lot did not get built, and a lot didn't get finished. We can see some of them here. Some of his buildings. We saw this one on UNESCO, but yeah, this is the open hand. Can you see the hand shape there? That is the main symbol of the city. Very cool. But yeah, over here is Geometric Hill, which you can kind of see the plan there and some of the structures around it. We already looked at some of them though. The Martyrs Memorial, I think, was one of the ones that didn't get finished. So it's just like this wall area. It's very like skate park-esque, isn't it? Yeah, the Tower of Shadows. Another Le Corbusier that I don't think was completed, but if this was the intention, it's very like hauntingly beautiful in a way. But yeah, those were his designs. Like we saw the Palace of Assembly, that's this cool building here. Then the Secretariat's over here, which looks like a lot of Corbusier's other public buildings, except for all of this happening up here, all of these geometric shapes on the top, and all of the different shapes in the facade. Like it's very square, but there's a lot happening in the designs. That was very characteristic of him, just like weird shapes and weird patterns put in normal shapes. Pretty neat. What else can we see? There's the Rose Garden. So I don't think the slideshow was that good, if I remember. The Rose Garden, which we can see all kinds of beautiful roses. What a surprise. All kinds and colors, and lots of sculptures here as well. Some AI art of roses too, for some reason. What else? There's so much to see here. I'm trying to remember what I had to show you. Most of the stuff I needed to show you was over here. Mostly just the rock garden. I think that's like the coolest place. I think out of all of the neat sites in India, that's the neatest modern one. Big roundabout here. You can see the hustle and bustle of the big city. Of course, not as much as other Indian cities, but very busy nonetheless. There's also lots of suburbs outside of the Chandigarh area. You can see over here. It's still sectors and such, but this is not within Chandigarh. This is in Punjab. And there's also lots of farms on the outskirts, but not within the city limits that we're talking about tonight. There's still mango farms. And wildlife areas. But outside the city, we can look at the Lake Reserved Forest. That's my cat scratching over there. He's locked in here with me so that he does not yowl at the new kitten. This is mostly just pictures of the beautiful rock garden and the birds. So, here we can read it. Rock Garden, a fantasy created by Nick Chand, dedicated to the spirit of creativity by the people of India. That is something. But yeah, this is beautiful Chandigarh. There's lots to see here. As always, I encourage you to explore for yourself. Here's the International Doll Museum. Let's look at the dolls. Let's see, those are cute. These are from Vietnam, it says. I believe it. They definitely look it. That looks like Kirsten from American Dolls. But she's from Norway. Pretty sure Kirsten's from Sweden. Russian nesting dolls, look how tiny the littlest one is. A Japanese doll. History of Barbie. Got Barbie dolls. Very Indian looking doll there. Very cool. So yeah, there's all kinds of sites to see. Indonesian puppets there. Wow. Yeah, there's all kinds. Let's just look at like the main slideshow. Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be all of what we just looked at. Oh, we've got some. There's a big motel with a Pizza Hut attached to it. That's pretty cool. But yeah. Dinosaurs, as one has, you know. It's really weird, like, how often I see dinosaur statues around the world. It seems like so many cities around the world just have dinosaurs in their parks. I'm not complaining. This one has an Eiffel Tower. But yeah, pretty interesting. I suppose I'll leave it there. Otherwise, everything else is mostly just businesses and such. The mall is a pretty big deal, but the slideshow isn't that great. It's a huge shopping center here. Look at all the shopping. What was pretty simple there. But yeah, all decked out for Christmas. It's a big deal. Look at the elephants and the fountain there. Pretty neat. Yeah, I suppose I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this style of content, please consider subscribing. We are hopping over to Taiwan next, where we're going to see a very big Buddha statue and some really cool, very old neighborhoods and I don't know how to describe it without spoiling it, a construction that the Japanese made that is a very, how do I describe this without spoiling it? It's a very interesting modern structure that doesn't really exist in the world anymore. They're kind of obsolete, but there is one still functioning in the place we're going to in Taiwan. If you can guess what it is and what purpose it serves, let me know in the comments. If you know, you know. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good night. Oh yeah, don't forget to hit that thumbs up.